And a very warm good evening. This is Anawa Chaudhary. You are live on my YouTube channel, Arun Foot. It is August the 5th, 2025, a little earlier than usual, 7:30 kickoff for this live tonight rather than the usual 9:45. And therefore, welcome again, everybody who is watching this live or deferred. And thank you as always for your support here on Arun Foot. Then without your support, it would be very, very difficult to keep this going. And we once more will talk about what all is happening in Indian football, what all is going right or wrong in Indian football. And yeah, these are difficult times. These are tough times, demanding times, I would say, because there's so many things that are happening at the moment which could, should, would need to happen. And the challenge now lies to see how things can be put into a so-called better future. One of the big news points last night was, while we're doing the live, was that Bangalore Football Club had announced last night that they would cease first team operations for the time being due to the uncertainty surrounding the Indian Super League. While, of course, yesterday also the news came out that the All India Football Federation would be meeting and interacting with 8 of the ISL clubs. That supposedly now has gone up to 10 because Mumbai City Football Club as well as Chennai FC are set to be part of that meeting as well. So that's, I would say, good news in the sense of saying that not only the 8 mentioned clubs are going, but now more than that, now 10 of the 13 outside of the Kolkata teams, or let's say 12, because there is no clarity if Melbourne Sporting still is an ISL team or not, because that's one of the big questions at the moment is, are Melbourne Sporting actually an ISL team or not? If you see the performances in the Kolkata League, if you see their bans, financial troubles, then you would then say, you know what, Melbourne Sporting does not qualify to be an ISL team at the moment. As sad as it might sound, but that's the reality of the current given situation. And that is where we're stuck in at this moment in time, right? That's where we are at this moment, that you'll have to wait and see what happens. And there are a lot of factors which will decide on where this whole journey potentially could, would, should go. I think that's very tough to see where the journey will go, because at the moment, tough to say where things are headed, because at this moment in time, there's no clarity what happens with the Supreme Court. There's no clarity what are the next steps in regard to getting the AIFF constitution cleared, I think, is one. What are the next steps in regard to the MRA extension? Is there going to be an MRA extension? That's a question that needs to be asked. And what are the clubs going to do? Because if they're going to cease operations for now, is this a temporary step? Is this a step just to safeguard their own interests? Or is this a step which actually factually down the road means, you know what, we're not going to restart at least our first team for the moment, given the realities? And that is what I feel is a very, very big, it's a huge danger at this moment in time as we speak. It's not, at least to me, it's not clear where we are going to head. And that will be very interesting to see. Right? So therefore, to me, if you ask me again and again, there needs to be a solution from a federation perspective. There needs to be a solution from a league perspective in regard to ISL. There needs to be a solution in the names of the teams or the franchisees, and there needs to be a solution overall for Indian football. So therefore, that is something which is very, very challenging. And we'll have to wait and see. Those of you watching the live, do let me know what you think, what you believe. Where are we going with this? Because we're entering a very tricky phase in Indian football. Again, there is no clarity on where things will go, and there's no clarity on where things will head, so to say. It will be very, as I say, it's very, very interesting to wait, watch, observe what people do. Again, the AIFF President Kalyan Chaubey has said clearly the ISL will happen. How does he say that with conviction? Because at this moment in time, the ISL is not happening. And the clubs are shutting down their operations. So the question at the end of the day is, what's the next step? How do we move forward? What do we do? And that is going to be the challenge. Angry Birds. Yeah, Tiruvala early today because I'm off to a little bit of local football over here. That's the reason why I said to myself, I wanted to do a live. That's why I'm doing this live. And very interesting to see. So let's see. Dada, have you seen what Sanjay said about the Indian national team coach appointment? Those who have selected Constantine for the final shortlist doesn't know anything what he has done as India's coach. I have not, Pavash, therefore it's difficult for me to comment. But if anyone questions what Stephen has done for the Indian national football team, that rather speaks about that person. It speaks about those, and it speaks about Indian coaches. The way Khalid has been brought in is scandalous, to say the least. And it seems to me that if you look at the situation at the moment, Khalid has still not signed the contract, and it's just incredible to think, to believe that the AIFF have announced a national team head coach without sounding out the coach in the sense of, hey, contract, this is what we want to offer you, this is what the money, and have you sorted it out with your ex-club? Because the situation with Jamshedpur still isn't sorted. And so therefore that is that. And Polish should say he has used more words which I don't want to say out loud. And Polish, that shows me the character of these people. Right? It says more about them than about other people. Right? Sir, is Manisha Kalyan going to East Bengal? They should. I think it's at the moment not clear where she's going. I don't know if she's going to. Was there an extension with PAOK? I think is a discussion. But yeah, East Bengal are looking to strengthen. It is somewhere to be seen where Manisha plays next season, but I hope that she keeps on playing in Europe. Good evening, Yuvraj. I'm doing fine. Hope you're doing good as well. Today the stream location has changed. Looks like, I'm on the road. So I've stopped somewhere and decided to do it from an, let's call it an unusual location, because I still wanted to do the live with all that is happening in Indian football. So therefore I decided, and therefore, I'm here doing this earlier than usual at a different location than usual. I didn't know much about Asian footy, but after following Indian, I really loved Asian football. Asian football has massive potential. Yeah, I don't know. Asian football still has, and therefore follow Asian football. There's some interesting football to follow, and yeah, let's wait and see. Panos is absolute circus. People like Kollan, Bimal Ghosh, Armando, Ambijan pushed for Khalid without any interview cleared. They were based on their whim. Panos, they had one agenda, and that is we wanted Indian. And Khalid at the moment is the most successful Indian coach in the system, and therefore they decided to appoint Khalid, not taking into account that a lot of people in and around the AIFF have warned them of that appointment. And it shows me the narrow-mindedness of these people. That's for me one of the big things, one of the big takeaways of all this, that these people said it has to be. And it's like, if you don't have the right coach at this moment, which in the past also was actually the case, but we still appointed a new coach, then we know that we're doing something wrong. Right? So the less I say about this, the better it is actually. Which clubs will stop their salaries? Odisha FC, Mangaluru FC. I've not heard confirmations, but I've heard supposedly also Chennai FC, Hyderabad FC, Kerala Blasters are also in the mix. And then they could be followed by others next month. I think if there's no solution in the month of August, then Jamshedpur FC could join in, Northeast United could join in, Mumbai City could join in, depending on what they do in the ACL2 qualifiers, maybe even FC Goa. Again, everybody who doesn't see a real future for the ISL will pull the plug. And that's a real danger at the moment, given the realities. Hi, Kumar. Welcome back. So did you hear about Churchill appeal? Yeah, Yuvraj, I've heard about it, that they went to the Swiss federal court, and the federal court will not intervene in a sporting matter like this, because CAS is let's wait and see. Do you think I'm Vision should do better in administration? Granil, I don't know if Vijubhai can be better in administration or not. But I don't think he can do better in administration, if you ask me that way. Now this Churchill has went to Swiss Supreme Court to appeal against Casper with Swiss Supreme Court upheld. Yeah, Kumar, they did. The Supreme, it's not, they call it Supreme Court, they call it Federal Court. As a Northeast United fan, I'm hopeful about Khalid Jamil. He's a great coach. He took Northeast to semi-final, taking over from a foreign coach. Vinit, that's your opinion. I don't agree to that. He's a great coach, first of all, and he took over from Gerardmus under dubious circumstances, let's put it this way. And so therefore, I don't rate him to be the right choice for national team coach. And at the moment, he's not the national team coach. And if we want to have that discussion at this moment in time, Khalid Jamil still is not the India coach. Palestine, Syria, Iraq all have their own problems, but they punch heavy above. I know they use diaspora. Even the local products of these countries are near Asian elites, or maybe one of the top. Yeah, that's very true. That's very, very true. Where would the players play without ISA? Clearly, they want to play in lower tiers in Europe. How will they keep their match fitness? Vishu, I know from players who've reached out to me that they want to play in the lower tiers of Europe, but I have to tell them that, the lower tiers of Europe is not the level that you should think about playing. Let's be honest about that. So therefore, that's also at the moment a reality, that even if a player thinks that he can play at that level, they're actually not capable of playing that level. And so therefore, for me, I don't know what the plan is of the players. At the moment, I don't see a plan of the players of how they're going to keep their match fitness. And also, I said that yesterday, I think also for the top level players, this whole ISL situation is something of a psychological pressure. Also looking at the whole scenario, because you don't know what's going to happen. You think if Supreme Court had passed the verdict, we could have fastened up things? Then no idea. In theory, yes. In practicality, we don't know. Good evening, Siddharth. Welcome back. Dada, if ISL shuts down, do you think the regional franchise leagues will happen? Polish, that's a very good question. I would think that looking at the leagues, most probably Super League Kerala most probably could happen. But maybe with the one or the other different franchise, I think they are strong. Bengal Super League, I have no clue what the status of that is. And others, I don't know. I mean, those small leagues, the Gujarat League and some other leagues, the ones in Sikkim and all these, I think they will happen, right? But what the bigger ones will be, I have no idea. Ambijan should retire. We've seen enough of him, says Hannibal. Sajal Brothers literally appealed. Send 2 teams to ISL, please. Yeah, I've heard that as well. But I don't know if that's really the solution, And yeah, I think we don't even know if an ISL will happen. Right? So let's see. Churchill is still lying on social media. Okay. They said it's not over yet. The case is still going on. The Swiss Supreme Court just did not stop case verdict. Whereas they are trying to fight for something which they've lost. And to me, sometimes when you lose something, you have to be honest enough to say, you know what, I've lost. What is the best option for the players to keep up their match fitness without ISL? We need locally train, maybe get together in groups. I don't know what more they can do. I know that some players want to go abroad and train abroad. Let's see if they can do that. You have to try and keep fit, right? But again, I think main thing is the head. Why Reliance still want investing in football? They clearly aren't making any money, will make in your future. RS, I guess this is not about making money. Not everything in life is about making money. And therefore, they've done it. They've invested a lot over the years. And it'll be interesting to see what happens. What do you think about Minerva playing in Mick Cup next year? Dishu, I have no thoughts about this Mick Cup or Dana Cup or Gothia Cup or Finland Cup or Norway Cup, whatever these cups, these small few day tournaments are for these. Our Indian kids seem to be taking this seriously, while the rest to it is we're playing, right? We're playing a little bit here and there and enjoying ourselves. So these 3-4 day, I would rather say come to Europe for a 2-week trip, play proper 11-a-side friendlies against good teams that will have more value than these tournaments, right? I say, look at the level of competition in Mick, it most probably will be better. If you then go to Dallas Cup in the US, that will be even tougher. But what is the value of these tournaments at the end of the day? Are we producing any quality players? What's the final answer at the moment? No. Reliance Youth can send 10 teams in Gothia Cup, Dana Cup, and all. So, better guys not to talk about Minerva, says Siddharth. Hey, Blue, I'm doing good. Good to see you again. The Bengal Super League page is regularly posting about the past of Bengal football, even posted about the achievements of Ismail, Mohun Bagan, Mohammedan Sporting. Funny, these teams are not even part of the league. Kalash, but the promoters are, because promoters are Shrachi, and Shrachi, of course, have SSCN. So, therefore, all these things are interlinked, intertwined in some sort of form way. That's why they have content from the past and from the big three, and they're using it for the Bengal Super League at the moment. Good evening, Rudra. One lesson you wish Indian football learned, but they never learned over the years. Working together for a common cause would be one thing, if you ask me that way, Murali. Ashik left Mohun for money and joined BFC. Now BFC stopped the salary. Yeah, did he leave for money or did he leave for game time? I'm not sure if he left for money, really. But yeah, this is the situation. Would it be a dumb decision to give Khalid a 3-year contract by AIFF? Yes. To give Khalid the contract at all would be dumb, in my opinion. So, yeah. Football, like CSR for Reliance, is, yeah, Bamboo, as I mentioned, it is CSR for them. If you've lost 3,000 crores over these many years, then that for you in some sort of form way is charity, right? And yeah, that's the challenge at the end of the day, no? Which is there. So the Premier League Next Gen Cup makes Premier League 2 clubs to play. Are they the main Premier League club academy teams or soccer schools of these big clubs? No, they are not the Premier League 2 teams. They're playing their under 18s, their academy teams. They're not soccer schools or whatever. They're teams, but they're under 18. So our under 21s on the past under 23s were playing under 18 boys. How expensive is it for players to train on their own? Like, do they hire their own trainers and dietitians? You can, I mean, it depends on who wants it. I don't know how costly it is. Depends, I think, on region and state, and some of the players might train amongst themselves. But yeah, you can get trainers, you can get coaches, dietitians, doctors, physios, all of that together. So funny part is 2 out of the European treble trophies were 7 aside and 9 aside. His fans are justifying it, saying that that's how individual scouting is done. No scouting happens at those tournaments. And I think one thing we need to learn, Indian under 14 kids will not be scouted. Right? Indian kids will not be scouted. That's one of those realities that we'll have to live in, because no minor under the age of 18 can come to Europe. That's the reality. I think we're in a hyper world. Like, I have seen people exaggerate about Kolkata legacy in Malappuram, etc. And people lads think that they're like Tehran or Yokohama. Malappuram lads, okay. Some talks like they're the one invented football in the world. Yeah, I know history has its strengths and weaknesses, and I think in Indian football, a lot of weakness, I think, rather than strength at the moment. And a lot of people think a lot of things, but we're quite far behind. I don't know, what's the meaning of great coach? Does people know the meaning of it, and including Khalid as great coach? Can anyone tell the achievements of Khalid outside of India? What's his achievement except winning the I-League? I would say then that about, if you want big achievements. So if I said clubs are invited to meet FF, why weren't FF still all these days by our legendary FF? It's a good question. I don't have an answer. If you ask me, I don't know. And Interkashi, of course, is another thing, right? Where is Interkashi in this whole conversations? Predictions for India versus Indonesia tomorrow. They should not easy, but I hope to say that I want our India girls, under 20 girls, to win, and let's see. You said Gothia Cup is grassroots cup. Is Indian kids are better than these European grassroots players because in India we don't have proper development. We are playing academy kids against grassroots kids. So grassroots kids, you don't even know how often do they train twice, maybe once a week or something. I don't even know what these teams, who we're playing against. What do you say to a 19 or 20-year-old Reliance Foundation youth, young champs product, go on game time or stay in a big Indian club? Game time, 100%. Currently, AIFF have no money and they're doing the meeting in a lavish Radisson hotel in Delhi. Again, do we know that the AIFF is paying for it, or is it maybe the clubs are picking up the tabs? Do you think some of the Indian players will join Bangladesh League, considering Odisha FC Kabas have instructed the players that will help them to move on? At the moment, I don't know what the plan is, but could be down the road. I don't even know what the players are thinking on that matter, but it is a very complex situation as you think about it at the moment. Is what do you do? Do you stay? Do you leave? Do you go? Yeah, and that's a challenge in itself. It could happen. I don't think top level players, maybe some mid-rank players might go across to Bangladesh or maybe even to Nepal if nothing happens. When we can expect squad announcement for CAF Nations Cup, sir? So not. I want to first see the confirmation of the coach. Right. I would like the squad to be announced. I mean, for that we need to have a coach, and then we can announce the squad. I don't know if the AIFF announces the squad and then appoint a coach. That would be also funny. Yeah. So therefore, I don't know. Normally, I would like the camp to start this week. I think that would be the best to happen. Also, I've been reading that place's name of Messiah responsible when there are restrictions imposed for Zoom. Is that true? Yes, he is, through his lawyer. We never didn't even play those tournaments first year. Very true. They played second or third tier and 7-a-side games, European travel, all that posting that on social media and happy. Blue, it is embarrassing. I mean, you can build a whole narrative around these things, and it makes no sense. That's my concern when I see all of that. What aspect do you want to challenge Gothia Cup or Never Club? Why do I want to challenge Gothia Cup? It's a grassroots tournament. It's nothing more, nothing less. Right? And they've been doing their stuff. I've said what I have to say. I do not see any future in Indian football even after all these problems. Where are we even heading with this in future? I mean, if the basics aren't sorted, I think, this complex situation gets more complicated. But at the moment, very difficult to say where we're heading at the moment. If anyone can say where we're heading at the moment, that person, has real messiah qualities. Why do you think fans in Indian football wrongly understand Indian football? Because fans think they know and understand. Really, and they don't. In my opinion, a lot of fans don't understand the basics of football, forget Indian football. I think most people don't understand it. That's our biggest problem, if you ask me. Few players can get really good salary if they join a team like Bashundhara Kings. Yeah, but is Bashundhara and Blue asked that question? Bashundhara aren't paying same after the whole Hasina situation in Bangladesh. That's the question. Do Indian players actually want to go to Bangladesh given the political scenario over there? And secondly, I think the money that was being paid in Bangladesh a while back is not the same that is being paid at the moment. So very difficult to say. You think Fabregas said about young players should invest on themselves with trainers, gym, doctors, etc., rather cast off? Yeah. I think if a player of the class of Cesc Fabregas says something like this, I think that is very, very true, right? So therefore, if you ask me, I would agree with him 100%, because focus, hard work is more important than money, fame, cars, women, whatever, lifestyle. One way to justify Indian football players' downfall, lack of genetic and infrastructure. Ghana coach during U17 World Cup in India, they said we don't have these facilities back in Ghana. I don't know if the genetics is an issue. Morally, to me, infa is also not a problem. We talk about problems which I think large parts of the world would like to have, right? African play a better example of overcoming hardship. Yes, 100%. So people usually say there are no grassroots league, but I'm associated with an academy, and every month a junior team travel to Goa, BLR, etc. for decent competition minutes, 7, 8 games, and good academies playing them. Yeah. Where do you rate Indonesia women team? Not that highly yet, not compared to the men's. His fanboys are justifying that that's how you get sponsors by hyping. You're not hyping, yeah, I don't know. I think hype is nice in the short term, but it will not work in the long term. And again, people look behind these things. It's funny that Bangladesh, despite all the political instability, got better in football. Sri Lanka, after defaulting, got better, and we downgraded in football despite being the most stable country. Yeah. I mean, do you want to add Syria? Do you want to add Lebanon? Do you want to add Palestine? Do you want to add, you know, other countries, Iraq to the mix? Iran? Yeah. I think if we got a stable federation like Prophet Patel and Kushal, we would be a decent side in Asia. Do you think Prophet would come back or some of the partners getting into AIFF? Renal, you've asked me this in the past. I don't think so. Right? So I don't think he'll come back. How far European fan have better understanding of football because Europe is hub of, well, some Europeans will have a better understanding, but I said general fan, football fan, I don't think understands really how football works in the background. So there was a story about Sri Lanka handball team traveling to Germany then disappearing to settle down there. Have you heard it? No, Yuvraj. Hearing this for the first time. Actually, some scooter fanboys celebrated because their messiah stopped ISIL through MRA. They think their messiah is saving Indian football from FSDR. Yeah, I mean, their messiah has given us this AIFF. Their messiah has destroyed more. Yeah. So, what to say? First of all, reduce those salaries of players. We all know each of those players doesn't deserve what they get now. Yeah, Mahesh, you could, but if your player pool is so limited as it has been in Indian football over the last few years, then the players are going to be the big winners of something like this, and therefore, let's wait and see what happens if the salaries are going to go down or not in the near future. Let's see. Interesting scenario. Right, nearly 34 minutes. If you haven't, like, share, and subscribe. Do support me and my channel. 12 likes so far. I think we can do better. And if you haven't listening to this conversation, liking this conversation, do subscribe to arunfoot. 2,811 people. Thanks a lot at the moment. Slowly etching to the 3,000 mark. And watch the short videos that I do on a regular basis. Did something today on the AIFF going to meet the ISL teams, and of course BFC sees their operations. Yesterday that they have to restart Khalid Jamil and other things. So do watch. Hi, Vaman. Heard India vs Singapore AFC Asian Cup qualifying Bangalore. I wish I could be there, but now that I think about it, I'm happy because I don't want to see players who have no football practice for 4 months. Yeah, Vaman, let's see. Hi, Roshan. Just read that former Mumbai coach Jorge Costa died. Jorge Costa died? Oh, I haven't heard that. Hold on a second. Let me just check. Oh, yeah. News 25 minutes ago. Jorge Costa has died, aged 53. And he was at the Porto training center. Oh, very sad to him. It's a developing story. Yeah. Thanks, Roshan. Sad news. As you said before lockdown, we were heading in some direction. Do you think if lockdown didn't affect Indian football as bad as it hit, would our situation would have been different? Um, Rishabh, I'm not sure because the problem with the whole lockdown situation is the lockdown is the one thing, but I think the Supreme Court case, the FIFA ban, that was I think that was the bigger problem for us. If you look at it afterwards, I think the people who were running the AIFF, if they were still running the AIFF, I think certain things would have been sorted out by now. If you think about 2020 and 2025. So yeah, lockdown had its negative effects, but the new AIFF were not able to turn things around. By the way, said just boasting about Kashi, one of our women's team player got selected in year 20, so traveling to Bangkok for qualifying AFC. That's great. Good match. These are the kind of stories you need. The whole situation on Indian football can be summed up by the fact that we're inviting Messi to India to play cricket. Is he coming to? I don't even know if he's coming. Right? I mean, Argentina was supposed to come. I was told that even money, some level of money has been collected for the India versus Argentina game, but it looks like that game will not happen because of timing issues and now Messi is supposedly coming to India in December, then every day playing cricket or something. I don't even know what every day. Let's wait and see. Best league in South after ISL, is it I League or Bangla League? I would think the Bangla League would be stronger than the I League. The amount of views RB is getting is insane. I saw 3-4 reels with million views. Yeah, anyway. Yeah. But people don't want to listen to what we speak here about because these are the realities. So these are real words. As Yuvraj said, it's easy to sell dreams and depict in and that's the biggest problem. That is where we are stuck at this moment in time, if you ask me. I can expect from the meeting between AIFF and 8 clubs. Karam, I don't even know if 8 or 10. I'm hearing that Mumbai City and Chennai might all join in as well. But at the moment, I'm not sure if, let's see what happens. I'm not sure I don't know what it's supposed to bring. I'm still unclear on that. One thing which fans don't know about football, what aspect fans are ignored. I can feel fans following social media over here. The realities. So AFF still holding on the I League trophy. I don't think they have the I League trophy. I think Treasury Brothers are holding on to the I League trophy. How do you see federation issue? Disaster for Indian football. The MSI isn't capable enough to think who will buy his player if ISL shuts down. Yeah, also very true anyway. Arkan Footy Films doing something for women's grassroots. Do you think it's better to have community organized leagues for use under 6, under 14 rather than big out dropping info? It depends on where you are, what you have, what you need. You can't, the problem is we're generalizing. No? So in some areas you will need the leagues, in other areas you will need the infrastructure, in other areas you will need something like footballs, kit, playing gear. So different reasons. Is hosting mega event is much more easy compared to having world-class grassroots? Yeah, morally. Because infrastructure you can easily build. Now, grassroots you have to work for 10, 20, 30 years. So do you watch Durham Cup? No, Beneath. At the moment, I'm not in the mood to watch Indian football because we've got bigger issues, bigger problems, and therefore I've not actually been following, if I'm very honest, I haven't been following the Durham Cup in the last few weeks. The most doubtful thing that's also me is people generally believing that we should coach Indian national team. Yeah. So, which shows me how much they know about football, right? How they want to pay their players compared to ISL. They show not as much, but okay. Still, for South Asian standards, I would say overpaid. Do you think certain players' orthodox style of play, they are more effective? Right? There are players like this, there are players like that. I wouldn't say that. What aspect do you think court handling case is wrong apart from the involvement? They don't understand what they're dealing with, I feel. If they'd understood, you know, I don't know if these justices also read newspapers or stuff. Have they not read about what's happening with the ISL teams or something? Couldn't there have been a cross check with people? Yeah, I don't know. I, yeah, I wouldn't know. Why do certain sports cannot become global? Because there is no interest globally on the sport, right? India is talking, I guess, about the test match yesterday. Yeah, nobody will have heard about it. Hate to say, as a 23-year-old, my body isn't keeping up with my efforts. I get tired too quickly, legs get too heavy, knee issues. My coach literally said to me, body saath nahi, and I can't believe, to be honest. Yeah, Rishabh, football isn't always easy, right? When I was younger, I could recover fast. I could play 9 or 11 aside football almost every day. Rishabh, age, right? Right. If Bangladesh can run a league without private ownership, we need to tackle now this new constitution electing decent people who can do their job, which is running leagues from youth to top tier. Arthur, why do we need to follow Bangladesh in this? We have a league which has a setup created, which is a setup played successfully in other parts of the world. And we have a federation which has been incompetent for a while, right? The AIFF is in no position to run a league. And most big leagues around the world are managed by private entities. So I don't agree that the AIFF's priority should be to run a top tier league. I think the AIFF's priority should be to look after the national teams, men's and women's, seniors and juniors. They should create the framework of the league structure of the system, look at the lower leagues in the men's, run the women's league. Ideally, you would get investment also to privatize the women's league down the road. And then do the frameworking with the state associations. Why is Mohanbag Subhajan not serious about anything? Blue, a question to ask Mr. Goenka, Devashish Dotto, Srinjoy Bose, and the others. भारतीय फुटबॉल राजनीति चले इसके दूर. Yeah, it seems to be a huge problem at the moment. Said Touchwood, but Kashi playing in ISA will have amazing change in UP football. Lucknow-based semi-pro club Lucknow Falcons have also taken shape with the residential academy and all. I see some light. That is great. But yeah, the ISL playing, I don't know. That's my concern. Do you think this MOU is just eyewash or not working efficiently? Which MOU? Recently, a lot of people have approached Interkashi to work too, from big business houses of UP to political people. Hope we can be the sleeping giant of Indian football. You're right, and that's the case. Brilliant. Right, but we'll have to see what happens. Constantine is golden era of Indian football. Yeah, it was a golden era. I don't even know, but it was better. Nah, bro, you keep hating on people not wanting to listen to you, but you seem pretty stuck in your way, unable to explore and think beyond your current opinions. Arthur, convince me. Right. If you're unable to convince me about things, how will things move forward, right? Convince me. My opinions are built on knowledge and understanding, right? They're not built on some obscure thinking or something, right? So what am I going to say? Good evening, Dark Knight. Welcome back. You say Dallas Cup is bigger, but Mick Cup Britain has 13 of the 20 La Liga academies, but 4 from the Premier League, 4-5 from Premier League, Serie A, and PSG, Leon Bayern playing. There's nothing bigger for you. See, again, you're trying to push your opinion through on me, which is not the case, right? And I've said, if Dallas Cup is the biggest one in the world, and that's even accepted by the clubs, right? But hey, this is what I find funny, that people who turn up and tell you, I know it better. If you can prove it to me, I will change my opinion. But you have not. I'm not stuck in my ways. I have predicted most of the things that have happened over the last 10, 12 years in Indian football, right? So I am in a situation where I think I can have an opinion, right? So you've read up something, you've Googled. I love that, right? Great. But there's knowledge and there's understanding. And if you want to be in my club, I need understanding. My problem is that I'm surrounded by people who think they know, they understand, and they don't have a clue. Playing in that Mick Cup has no value. You could play those teams in proper friendlies. Take 4 matches over a 2-week period is worth more than playing those matches in those few days in all those competitions. Because the Europeans don't take these tournaments seriously. They're just for fun. But hey, you guys seem to know. Sorry. Hi, Harry. Fun fact, sir. Varanasi West Club won Shubhuta Cup back in 1970, and 3-4 players from Kashif played with Mohun Bagan, Mohun Sporting, etc. in the 80s and 90s. Good. Have you worked on Olympics project? No, I have not. Coach is bad, federation is bad, country league uncertain, all things going the bad direction. What's the best thing that can happen? Let me have a solution to the federation situation. You know, and then everything else would happen. Right? That's the problem. Where is the Indian tennis world? Nowhere at the moment, Murali. I don't know. We don't have star players like we've had. It's been 8 years now that Under 7 World Cup in a perfect world would have pushed everyone to improve grassroots, and now we start to see the fruits of it. But guess what? We are Indians after all. Rishabh, I think 8 years after a Youth World Cup, progress short time, in my opinion, if I'm very honest. I would have said, if you ask me from that perspective, we're on the way, whereas I think in an Indian context, it'll take 15, 20 years, right? But yeah, who's to blame really for ISL failure? Everyone, right? Yeah. AIFF have to take their share of the blame. FSDL, Reliance needs to take their share of the blame. The clubs have to take a big share of the blame. And if I look at the Supreme Court has had its impact, yeah, we're looking at these things. It's a very complex situation. After SAF Cup 2023, everything about Indian football has felt like a disaster. It's hard. I feel like I don't want to support it anymore, but it's still stuck in my mind. Any advice on how unfollow? Zaza, it's it is it. I feel you. I think we need a restart in the system. That will take time. I think we need a restart in somehow that things move in a direction that helps us to sort out the problems that we face at the moment. And only then things can get better. At the moment, I think if we're honest, you, me, all of us listening, things might get worse before they get better. That's the problem. Day by day, I'm losing hope, says Dark Knight. Yeah, also a reality. Clubs need to reach AFC and FIFA to intervene, as you said. Do you think will this help us in Indian football a lot, or will it make a ban of Indian football more like previously, which will create urgent situation? Harry, the point is the clubs. I mean, my simple question to the clubs would be, why has there been not a meeting with Reliance at the top level? Yeah, that's the first. Meeting AIFF. Yeah, does the AIFF have the authority on those matters? If we want to go to the next level, right? What's the steps to be taken, right? So for me, to go to AFC and also to FIFA and right, listen, guys, this is a situation we are in. This is a situation our league is in. I think would be very, very logical. The bar of these ban ISL kick FSTL fan voice is so low that they want it to happen like Bangladesh League. No wonder what their competent people will do with new constitution. Yeah, Yuvraj. I wish you had an actual deadline date to come up with a decision instead of waiting in the dark, not knowing when things will get resolved. Babalu's animation, it was clear that it would go on like this. The hope was always that things would be sorted, but yeah, they haven't, right? So we're stuck in the situation we are in. So yeah, welcome to the situation. To have everyone, etc., to work fast. Yeah, difficult. I've seen you interview in Wembley Stadium. How good experience was it in difference find with Germany? It was not Wembley. It was the Olympic Stadium, the London Stadium, and yeah, it's a great. Minerva's going to play in the MIC Cup next year. It's a tournament where the best youth teams in the world take part, including giants like Barcelona and Real Madrid. Okay, Ritu. Approximately how much does FSTL spend on grassroots? I don't think much, because the main spending on grassroots come from Reliance Foundation, but don't ask me for figures. I don't know. Why do you think Southgate got that much of anger? Yeah, because he didn't play good football with his team. Sorry. The thing about Lucknow Falcons is they only had a UP cricket franchise team, but now with some investments and foreign coaches, licensed coaching roles, they're working good in Lucknow football. That's good. With Lucknow needs football, right? And I think Interkashi needs competition in UP. The uncertainty in ISL would make a lot of parents unwilling to send their kids to pursue football, even if we sort out ISL, our talent pool will dry up in a few years. I don't think so. I think a lot of parents are sending their kids abroad. Kids from the lower strata of society are still wanting to be footballers. Yeah, you might lose the middle, I guess, but that's the challenge. Do you think half-boiled knowledge and opinions very dangerous? Yeah, the biggest problem in today's world in everything, right? If you don't know, but you think you know. Well, these half-boiled knowledge kids are the ones hopping on Gothia, Dana, Mina, and hyping wins less competitive than AIFF youth leagues. Right? Very true. Are there UCF and AFC competition for clubs? I know it happens in England, but does it happen like a UCL? I know it happens for U20, but is it for U70 and AFC? It's in AFC. Why not Punjab prove it? They're in U7. No, they're not. Harry, there are no. There is the UEFA Youth League, which is an under 19 competition, but there is otherwise nothing in that way. And in Asia, no, we don't have anything. And you can even prove by producing quality players that eventually make it on to under 17 Indian team and make India better. Yeah, but they're not, right? Since everything runs on images and hypotheses, it is possible that Bajaj replaces Kalyan at the helm. It will be another disaster waiting. I hope not, but let's see. Now we have a story, so we have like very few proper football grounds in Mumbai. One is in Bandra, other one in Lower Parel. Bandra one is quite expensive. 8K per hour rent. That's where my club trains. Okay. Other one is normal one, so it was quite cheaper, but it's in ruins. Most of trials training with club would take place there. There are some local persons who are keeping it in ruins. The realities of India. Do not even want to follow Indian football anymore. The problems are endless. Yeah. Hi, Uchut, any update from the AIFF clubs? No. That's on Thursday, right? It might be that instead of 8, maybe 10 teams might be going to a meeting. Looking forward to the Women's U20 Asian Cup qualifier. Yes, Uchut, let's hope so. People go to court at the drop of a hat and nobody's going to the top court. Yeah. Very true. Hope tomorrow sports will pass and then follows the Supreme Court verdict. Let's see what happens. Do you think some of our kids don't have the discipline to be coached? I've seen kids play and think they are the best, but when they are coached, they can't even do a pass right. See, those kind of kids you have everywhere in the world, right? So, getting those kids into the system, I think, is the challenge, right? That's the work. That's the hard work you have to put in, and not easy, difficult at times, but yeah, doable, right? So that's the challenge, I guess, on that. Hey, my then for me, I'm doing good. Just joined in, heard about Jorge Costa passing away. Yes, heard it, or rather, was told by Roshan here on the live. Very sad. 53, died from what I was it? Yeah, he passed away at the club training ground, aged 53 due to cardiac arrest. Yeah, very sad. Very sad. Yeah, very sad. If ISL doesn't happen, it would take Indian football to 10 years back. At least the league is organized professionally below ISL. All Indian leagues are. Sada, if the league doesn't happen, we're going back 20 years, not 10 years. 20 years, 30 years, most probably. We're going back to the 90s. Use 70 qualifiers in Gujarat. Thoughts? Good. We're hosting it. I hope we take the advantage and qualify for the U17 Asian Cup. So I'm not being sarcastic, but is Ranjit was really a good guy? Better not to comment. Bajaj players can't play against Japanese Korean club. Forget about European clubs. It's Dark Knight. Views on international team going to CAFA Nations Cup expectations, best and worst case scenarios. I don't have any expectations because the national team is a mess. We're supposedly appointing someone as our head coach who has not accepted the role. So I think the AIFF needs to sort that out first. And then I don't know how many days of preparation he will get with the players because the players are also not in preseason. So I think that's a big issue. Sir, it's agreed that there are 100+ problems in AIFF. If a new regime comes in tomorrow, what's the first problem they should address and fix? Maman, it is not so that you just say, listen, we've got these problems and, look at this, look at that. You have to do an assessment first, financial audit. I think the financials are the first thing that you need to recognize, and then you need to have a conversation with your stakeholders. I don't think there is one thing to handle. I think you have to handle a lot of problems, a lot of issues in parallel. Mr. Ben as good as hairs on honest notes head. Oops, Yuvraj, that's a hard one. If league not happening, then we are pre-NFL era. Yes, Dark Knight. We go back to the mid-90s, and then we will have to hope that things will get better at some stage. Quick reminder, 1 hour, 3 minutes plus. Didn't even realize over an hour already. Like, share and subscribe as always. 17 likes so far. I think we can do better than that. And share with other people. And I'll say, subscribe to the channel. Let's grow the community. Let's get more people involved and push for the things. And otherwise, things are not going to move ahead, right? So we need to do it together, guys. We have watched India U20 women play, but going by the group, do you feel we are the favorites to go through? Not sure. I don't mean we've done well in the qualifiers, no doubt about it. Or not well, we've done very well actually in the qualifiers. But that doesn't say much in my opinion because those were the qualifiers. And therefore, we're interested to see how we do. The team looks talented. Joachim Alexanderson has done good work, hard work. And I'm not sure. Again, there is talent, but I don't know if we're going to get through or not. Hey Neil, welcome back. Good to see you. I still want to know why Supreme Court isn't informed that Mr. Representative blatantly lied. Also, why they didn't cross-check it. Just because of that, we're stuck. Shame to everyone involved. Blue, because I still haven't understood how the judiciary is handling the case. If you look at court-appointed administrators in the past, this and that and everything, then it doesn't make sense. Yeah. So do you have any plan of coming back to India in future and working for India for when things become better? Vishu, in theory, yes. In practicality, I'm very happy. I've got my freedoms. Yeah, I would, but I would come. My learnings have been over the last 27 years that I've done things in Indian football. I would come to India under my terms. And that is, I think, very, very difficult for people to fulfill. May ISL happen? May AIFF get 30, 40, 5 crores, whatever, so that other leagues happen on time? Or out of ISL clubs, the conditions of finance and sponsors are terrible. They can't suffer this. Yeah, that's very true. Your thoughts on women's U20 coach? Sorry, didn't want to misspell his name. Alexanderson seems to have done good. If you look at the results which he had, the way even when coached the Indian senior team, how he played. So I think there is something in this gentleman as a coach, and then we'll have to wait and see. Right? Let's wait and see. I have hope, but my learnings have been, let's see. So if you don't mind, can you tell me which match you're going to watch today? I'm not going to watch any game. I'm gonna go and watch a training session of a local team over here who have a big cup match on the weekend. So it's becoming a reality. There will be no ISL one way. I'm disappointed, but I think it'll be good for a long run. Players who are becoming complacent and only care about money, not development. Neil, do they really care at the moment about development? They're all caring about their pockets, right? That's the problem, right? Since you started following Indian football, which AIFF president do you think did a bare minimum job or better than his predecessors or successors? See, I've seen three presidents, President Asmunchi Praful, and now Kalyan, has been the worst of the three. Priyada and Praful were presidents at different phases of Indian football. Priyada put a lot of things in place which didn't exist. AIFF office, full-time secretary, a secretariat, an office, and all that stuff. Football house. Praful then took it to the next level, bring in someone like Kushal, Shrondo being there, bringing Reliance in. So, different phases with these gentlemen. So these two, difficult to say who I would say better was. Reyes will be a good signing for Bayern. I think he will have Rafinha kind of impact. Let's see. I'm hopeful. Let's see what he can do. Anava says, head of Kashi football operations. Here we go. Just kidding, sir. What would be the one job would call back to Swadesh? Yuvraj, there is nothing specific. It just has to fit. It just has to fit either with the club, or I say, you know what, rather be outside of the system or be maybe working for an entity as in an advisory role. I think that would be the best for me. That gives me a freedom to do my other things and work. As a 23-year-old, I've started to feel when I'm going to turn 40, things won't be any different. Wow, Rishabh. At 23, you're still very, very young. At 40, you will hear the aching of your bones. So, and the older you get, the worse that will get. So therefore, at this stage, no, you don't know the problems that are coming with age. I'm thinking about moving to Germany. Advice like job hunting, insurance, or having backup cash. Rishabh, again, I don't know what role you're looking for in what job. That's the first thing. Inform yourself. There are information tools via the German embassies and consulates. Yeah, that's how I would see those. Pods have come for both women U17, men U7, and we are hosting the U17 one. Women we are pot one. Surprisingly, do you think we can make it to Asian U17, both men and women? And it depends on who we face. We're in pot one in the women because the best teams are not there in the women; they're already there, right? So therefore, that's an advantage for us. And in the men, yeah, we're pot two, but we host. So if we don't get someone too tough, my wish would be that we can do is Scooter helping Indian football harming? Harming, what about helping? System collapsing under Kalyan Chowdhury. Yeah, that night I think that's the reality. So therefore, yeah, very sad. So do you think Iran is going through a downfall? They don't have any young talents coming through in Europe. All their players are playing in Gulf countries to earn money. The issue, difficult to say, because these comparisons are always very, very tough, because we'll say, you know what, X number of Japanese players are playing, Koreans are playing abroad, this, that, you know. I was recently talking about China, that in the early 2000s they had players in Europe. Yeah, so therefore there are different things that are happening. So therefore we'll have to differentiate. I don't know if there's a downfall. Yes, they're banking more on experienced players, but I guess the next generation at some stage will come through. Scooter helping Indian football is like a water snake hunting a fish to consume, but then some people say it and say, oh, look, that snake saved the fish from drowning. Oops. That's nice one, Yuvraj. Bravo. Why do you think there's a lack of number 9 in general in world football? Looking at players like Sheshko and Negative for 80 million pounds 10 years back, these players would back up number 9 at best. I don't think they would be backups. Neil, if you've seen Ekitike and Sheshko in the Bundesliga, very talented, very, very talented young strikers who I think you'll have to wait for their full breakthrough. So therefore, for me, interesting to see how they play. Yeah, and therefore, I think they would have most probably gone for 40, 50 maybe, but that's the pricing that there was. But the game has changed. If you look at especially Sheshko and Ekitike, there, yeah, let's see. The other thing, AIFF meeting tomorrow with football anyway. It's on Thursday and not tomorrow, as you say yourself. But fruitful, I don't know how it can be fruitful, because the AIFF is in no position to get things done, right? So it's a challenge. I don't know how this meeting, what value this meeting can add at this moment in time, right? I'm not sure how it can do what it needs to do, right? What can the conversation between the sides help to bring at this moment? Because what's the authority of the AIFF? If FSTL doesn't join the meeting, what's the validity of this meeting, would be my question. And does the AIFF have the authority? What is the realistic solution for Indian football mess at the moment? Realistic solution, I think to me there is one thing. It sounds harsh, but most probably I think FIFA needs to step in and ban us again, and give a tight snap to a lot of different peoples. Right. But I think internally we can't solve it. The Supreme Court has not helped. The government hasn't helped. The AIFF hasn't helped itself. The other stakeholders haven't helped, and we're there. Good session, sir. Thanks a lot. Welcome, Yuvraj. Got some work to wind up. Till then, sir, let's stay motivated no matter how dark are the days in Indian football today. Remember, they'll be darker tomorrow. So relax today. Yeah, Yuvraj, thank you for your sarcasm, for your puns. Yeah, life is too serious at the moment. And we are in a very difficult spiral. Yeah, I agree. I'm looking for a software developer role. Do you think having certain years of experience in India helps in general? And as a software developer, I don't even know. Is Germany really a market for that? I wouldn't know. So you would have to do your homework on that. I wouldn't be able to tell you that. I mean to say there's a lack of number nine in general. I don't think so. I think the game has changed now. Neil, if you look at the game, we had a phase where we'd say, we don't need tens, we don't need playmakers, right? Inverted, right back, left back, this, that, everything. The game is changing constantly. So therefore, to say that you're a number nine, yeah, right. The best players of the last generation are Cristiano Ronaldo, Lionel Messi. Messi, playmaker to me, and Ronaldo, yeah, played in the end in the middle, but actually normally was always a winger for me, right? Can it be anyway trying to lure ISL clubs away from if it's still too far-fetched imagination, but a possibility? I mean, yeah, it could be an attempt to speak about trying to put together something of the sorts to build a new league, maybe. But the question is, even if the AIFF was trying to do that, who's going to fund it? Because your problem at the end of the day is that FSDL has spent and has spent substantial amounts of money to run the asset. Right? Just name a few: Kai Havertz, Rasmus Holland, Darwin Nunes, and Joshua Saxey. Yeah, but Kai Havertz to me is not a real number nine. He's been used as a number nine, but he would be more of an ideal number 10 to me. Holland and Saxey are strikers who went to United. And Darwin Nunes, yeah. Is he a failed nine? I don't know if he's a failed nine. It's like number nine roles are very different from other roles in pitch, and players need a lot of transition. Like in midfielder, mid play, and wings, and wingers may but it's enough or maybe not. Yeah, it depends on also how your depending on the others. No? That's also a problem. Is it the case what happening in Madrid? Mbappe trying to transition Ramones but not being one. Yeah, Harry. Again, him, Kai Havertz, to name, they are, yeah, I miss number nine like Brazilian. Oh, no, yeah, but those days are gone, Neil. The ISL clubs don't want to take responsibility as co-owners. They're 100% dependent on FSL. Yeah, the clubs as stakeholders of Indian football have also failed Indian football. I think that's one of the sad summaries of this whole situation we find ourselves in, that we have not been able to sort things in a way that things would move forward. To me, that's a challenge, and right, and yeah, and I don't know. It's yeah. These are the current realities of Indian football, right? The AIFF is a mess itself. They are one part of the mess. FSDL Reliance has puts its hands up and says, listen, guys, as long as the Supreme Court doesn't take a call, we're not going to do anything. They presented also the plans according to how they see how things should be, in their opinion. The clubs have said, oh, you know what? We don't need to bother. Reliance is going to take care of us, which they realized. They also had their share to play in everything. And if I look at the whole situation, being as it is at this moment in time, then we are stuck with, we can go on to the players, to the press, to the fans, all of us. Everyone has his little bit or her little bit to carry in this situation. As sad as it is. You all would like it to be different. I would like it to be different. But this is the reality of where we are today. And is it going to get better? I don't know. Can it get better? Yes. But yeah, it's very, very complicated. It's very, very complex. And let's see. Let's see what happens. Hey, Vikram, I'm good. Hope you're doing good as well. Did football grow in last 15 years in every aspect, mainly in our gameplay? Difference between old players and these new generation? I think football has changed, right? I think physically our players are better. Uh, but I don't know football-wise if the current generation is better than the older lot, which is a weird one because our from one generation to another generation, I think things have moved ahead. But I would have thought the generation about 15, 20 years ago would have been the best compared to where we are at this moment in time. And that's the challenge. That's the challenge. We're technically we're a mess. Tactically, yeah, most probably they're better, but physically, as I said, much better. But overall, is the package better? I don't think so. Why are they running from responsibilities? I'm not getting any reasons. Saving money or just incompetence? Where do you save money? I don't know where you would save money, Akash, by not taking up the responsibilities. I think Reliance has made their life easy, no? You don't have to do anything. Everything is done for you. Why would you bother? Right? Very simple. So that's the way it is. That is the way it has been, and it's been easy for you, no? So yeah, that's the challenge, right? And yeah, very, very sad situation. But the clubs have the clubs have sort of not really wanted to bother about the things, right? That's another thing, if you ask me. Right? That's another challenge of the situation as it stands today, right? That's as things are, and it isn't easy, but it's the way it is, and yeah, we can only hope things will improve. Huh? That's the summary of where we are or where we're not. I watched Serie A around 2006-07 with my uncle. I was 9, 10 years old. I'm not sure about football changed after 2010. It became so fast-paced and robotical. May just placebo effect, but it's my opinion. No, maybe it's as I say, it's become much more faster, fast-paced, physical. It's maybe compare the running motions of a Thierry Henry and then compare it with the Kylian Mbappe, right? Both brilliant players in their own rights, both world champions, but most probably in the running style of Mbappe, there is not as much grace as there is in the way that Henry used to do it. Thierry Henry was a different class player. Telling about myself, I was a cricket fan. I properly started watching football after 2022. Before that, I watched only national football match, but I saw fans talking, make this man coach, to be honest. Okay, good. Vikram, everybody who watches football, supports football, is good. And every fan is welcome, right? In my opinion, everyone is welcome. Everyone is welcome. Everyone should be welcome because football needs all supporters that it can get. And that is something which is, in my opinion, very, very important. And it's one of those challenges that football has at the moment, in my opinion, that how can you convince people to support? Right? Not easy, but very, 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 very important, in my opinion. Right? So therefore, be it you, be it others, be it all of us, right? Keep supporting Indian football. And that's why I say ask questions. Again, even other people asking me questions, I'm fine with that. But if they think that I am on the wrong track and I say the wrong things, then I know that these people haven't understood where the realities are. That would be my answer to them. Our domestic football didn't transition at all to this new generation gameplay and strategy. Akash, what is it going to change if you have de facto the same mindset of coaches, despite, so to say, a new generation of coaches coming in? Not the current one. The young ones are better, but we are missing that link to be better than the others, and we've missed the bus. We have surely missed the bus. You can see that in the ISL with the quality of players coming through, and with in our teams, right? So that's the challenge, and yeah, I think we can only hope that things will get better at some stage, much better at some stage. 1 hour 28 minutes plus. Quick reminder: like, share, and subscribe. Arunfoot here on YouTube. Visit my other social medias. Visit arunfoot.com, and I'll be back tomorrow with another live. And keep on supporting Indian football. And yeah, watch the short videos that I'm making. Spread the word. Let's keep on growing the community. And ending for tonight. Thanks and good night.